everyone, this is Yoga Genie, and this week we're doing yoga anatomy of the joints of the surya namaskar poses. So we're going to start off with Tadasana, and I'm going to demonstrate these poses as we go through the slides of explaining all about the joints. So let's get to it. So I'm just going to focus you on and explain to you about each of the poses and how it's not only the pose, it's actually the joints and the muscles that come with it as well. So hope that it makes it easier for you in this anatomy workshop. Okay. So we're going to go through Tadasana, and I'm going to do an anterior and a posterior lateral view, which is a front and back view. The joints in Surya Namaskar yoga poses, we're starting off with Tadasana. So the majority of the weight is actually on your heels, and there's like pressure points there as well. But the weight is distributed across like the front of the feet, and you'll feel that as well when you're in the pose. And the foot arches are like lateral, longitudinal arch, and then they have medial and transverse arch. And there's a full lung capacity as well, and you're in your neutral position. And there's a movement of the diaphragm, it's not restricted because you're like standing up straight like a mountain. You know, you stand up straight. So when you're slouched, you're restricted in your diaphragm, it's restricted. So when you go like that, but when you go like straight and put your chest out, your lung capacity is better. And your feet is always hip distance. So the knee joints and the hamstrings, the fingers are always relaxed. They're just down by the side. Your shoulder blades are rested on your rib cage, and your neck muscles are engaged as your head is like engaged and stabilized. The joints used are your spine, your knee, your shoulder, your elbow, and your neck. And the chakras that are activated in this pose are Muladhara, root chakra. So I'm going to demonstrate how, from the anterior and the posterior, how the joints are used, and I'll explain to you how it is slightly apart, and you're standing up straight and your chest is out. So this is the anterior version, the front version. And you have like your back up straight, feel tall, your neck is engaged, your head is engaged, and your fingers are relaxed. And then you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And you can feel that. You can feel like the actual muscles move as well as you inhale and you exhale. Now I'll show you from the posterior at the back. So it's stand tall, chest out, neck long, and then your fingers relaxed. And inhale through your nose. Some people also use a block in between their legs as well, so that it gives like it's a counterindication as well, so it's good to stand tall to help them balance as well in this pose. Yeah, so you can really feel the joints and the muscles engaged in this pose. And now we're going to move on to uttanasana, which is forward bending pose. And the joints used in this pose are the spine, the ankle, the shoulder as well, the elbow, the neck as well, and the torso. And there's an anterior pelvic tilt as well, which I'll demonstrate to you as well. The hips are flexed. The spine is slightly flexed as well. The knees are soft, and they're not locked as well. The feet are always like hip distance, and you have to release your head in this pose as well. The lumbar region of the spine, when you bend halfway, it's slowly, so your lumbar is region, you just do it slowly. This is a very deep spinal stretch, and you go into this slowly to reduce any lumbar load for anybody that has any disc issues as well. So any like low back pain or anything like that, you have to be careful. The chakras activated in this pose are the Saharasa, the Manipuru, which is the crown, the solar, the sacral, and the root, the Swadhisthana, and the Muladhara. So yeah, I'll just demonstrate this pose for you and actually how you go into it. And we'll do also ardha uttanasana as well, which is half forward bending pose. So I'll demonstrate those two poses slowly so you can understand them. So we start off in Tadasana or Samastiti. So inhale your hands up and breathe in. Inhale up in through your nose and exhale your hands down and exhale. And feel your actual knees. You can bend them if you can't keep them straight. Also, your neck and your head is bent here as well. Just make sure you don't round it too much. So just try, if you need to bend your knees, you can. So see how the joints in the knees are used as well as the elbows. They're just relaxed here, and you can rest them on your actual thighs or your calves, mostly your calves. And just breathe here. And you can really feel the stretch in your lower back as well, just here as well. This is the anterior, and I'll do the posterior at the back as well to demonstrate how it's done from the back. So then I'm going to do halfway look up, which is half forward bending, and you just use your neck here and your head's just stretched slightly up. So you're using your head and your neck muscles here as well. Feel how they are engaged, and you're breathing in and out. And then I'm going to inhale my hands up and exhale my hands down. And then I'm going to show you from the back as well. So I'm going to show you how you inhale your hands up and exhale your hands down slowly. And see how your knees are. If you need to bend them, that's okay, you can bend them, or you can keep them straight. Rest your hands on your calves and keep your feet slightly apart or together, and just drop your head down. And you can feel the bend in your spine, your lower spine here. Just try not to round down, just try and keep it at a slight angle. And keep breathing in this pose. And then we're going to do ardha uttanasana. Slowly lift up your head and your neck and feel the stretch here into half forward bending. Just gently, if you have any back issues, just gently, or avoid it if you can't do this pose. But yeah, this is half forward bending. And just breathe here and feel this pose. See how all your joints and your muscles are used. Your knees, your back, your lumbar. And then just bring your head in. Inhale your hands and lift up your back. And inhale your hands slowly up and exhale down into Tadasana. And I'm going to turn around and we're going to go through the next pose, which is chataranga, dandasana. So chaturanga dandasana is four-limb staff pose. So it's the joints used in it are your triceps, your biceps, your wrists, your serratus posterior, your serratus anterior, so that's your front, your pectorals, your trapezius, and your rhomboids as well. There's quite a lot of back muscles used as well. Your spine is neutral as well. Your upper limbs, your scapular abduction, there's elbow, there's flexion in that as well when you go into the pose. There's your forearm pronation, so there's a lot of pronation there as well. Your lower limbs, so your hips are like neutral and they're extended out. There's an extension in your knees as well. And your ankle is dorsiflexion, so there's like a slight flexion in that as well. So the chakras activated are solar plexus, so the Manipura chakra. So I'm just going to demonstrate this from the anterior and the posterior so that you'll understand. So I'll just see. Sometimes people actually do this incorrectly. So yes, I'll show you how this is done. So you go on your all fours and then you just go down and you stretch. You stretch your knees out. So I would just use the block here or the egg and just go down slowly. You can bend your knees as well here. And you just have your shoulders intact here. And your legs and your knees are outstretched. And keep your shoulders engaged in here, in the chaturanga and Tadasana. And breathe. So yeah, you can feel it that your shoulders are really engaged in this pose. There's a lot of happening here. But what people tend to do is they actually do this when they actually should rest on the block, or they should just relax in this pose, or they just try and do it quite a lot. They try and balance and they're actually putting too much pressure on the upper back. So this is the way to do it. So yes, your ankles are slightly flexed and your knees are bent. So yeah, you just go down like this. And you gently breathe in as well. So yeah, the egg actually, or the block actually helps you touch base with the chaturanga so you can do correctly. And you really can feel the shoulders engage here and your elbows. So yeah, this is actually all engaged. Your joints are engaged, your knees, you feel your ankles, your neck muscles. And now I'm going to show you the posterior, which is the back, so you can understand as well. So you're going to go from your knees and down into chaturanga. Feel your elbows here engaged. And breathe. And feel your knees engaged. And breathe, and we're just going to slightly come up here slowly and bend the knees out slowly. Come to the side And we're going to do the next pose we're going to do is urdha savasana, extension of the spine. And your upper limbs are using your shoulder, the extension, and your adduction as well. Elbow extension, your forearms, pronation, your lower limbs then, your joint, your counternuation, your hip extension, your hips are extended, adduction, your knees are extended as well, and your ankle, which is the plantar flexion as well. Your neck, you keep your neck long here as well. The chin is lifted back as well. I'm going to demonstrate that. The thighs are lifted and your elbows are straight, but they're not locked. And the chakras activated are the svanasana, the sacral chakra, the manipura, the anahata, and the vishuddha, which is the throat chakra. So I'm going to demonstrate the upward facing dog, the anterior version. So I'll just show you how this is done. Into upward facing dog from ardha uttanasana. So we'll start off in ardha uttanasana, half forward bending, exhale down. Come from chataranga and dandasana, So we'll start off in chataranga and then we'll come up to urdha. And then we'll come up into flex our toes out and then come up into urdha savasana. This is upward facing dog. Feel how your arms are outstretched here and your chin is lifted, your neck is back, and you breathe. You can feel the stretch in your lower back and the stretch in your neck as well. And then we're going to slowly come out. And I'll show you the posterior as well. So we're going to do that again. So go down in your knees and then I'll show you from here. Flex your toes, lift from your hands, you lift from your hands up. And then your hips and your lower back, and lift your chin up, keep your neck long. And your chin is lifted back, so feel the stretch in your neck as well, and your lower back. And breathe as well. This really extends your spine as well. And your shoulders are extended as well. And breathe in and out. And slowly come out. Relax your hands out. And then lift your body up. And we're going to go to the next pose, which is adho savasana. Which is downward facing dog, is a inversion, and it's the joints used are your shoulders, your wrists, your elbows, your fingers, your spine, your torso, your hip, your thighs, and your lower legs, your knees, and your ankles. And your gluteus maximus is stretched as well. The adductor magnus engages while you're in this pose, and the heels are pressed, which strengthens your tibialis anterior. Try and avoid rounding your back in this pose because your legs are straight and slightly bent. Your belly is also drawn in and it's engaged. Your spine is long and your hands are spread wide as well. This also helps relieve a lot of tension from your neck and back, so it's really good for any tension that you have. The activated chakras is quite a lot actually. There's the anahata, the heart chakra, the vishuddha, which is the throat chakra, the third eye, which is the anja chakra, and the uddiyana bandha, it stimulates the solar plexus, which is the manipura. So we're just going to go into adho savasana, which is downward from urdha savasana, right? We're just going to demonstrate from urdha savasana. And then we'll go into downward facing dog, into the anterior version, which is the front. And we're just going to lift from our knees and have a slight bend if you need to. And we're going to keep our hands outstretched. And let your head hang. And just breathe in this pose, in and out. And feel the stretch here in your lower back and your legs. And if you need to bend your knees, bend them as well. You don't have to like keep your legs straight in the ground. If you can, you can. Just do what you can here. Just feel the upper back as well. There's a stretch there. And your lower back as well. Feel your knees and your thighs and your legs. Your joints engage in your muscles. You can feel the muscles in your calves as well. Your upper back and your lower back. Your shoulders, your wrists, your hands. Now gently walk to the front of the mat slowly. And slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. And then we're just going to do the back as well. So you can see. So come on your knees and then spread your hands out. And just lift your body up. And just keep your legs stretched out. A slight bend if you need to. Keep your arms straight and your fingers spread out, and just relax your shoulders. Keep it engaged, keep your belly engaged and your head hang. And breathe here in this posterior, the back version of downward facing dog. And breathe. Feel the Achilles here and your ankle muscles. Your joints, and gently, slowly walk to the front of the mat, and slowly come out of this vertebrae by vertebrae. And just put your hands down by your side. And we're going to just do the next posture, and I'm going to go into utkatasana. So utkatasana, which is called fierce pose. It's the spine and it's the axial extension. So you really feel an axial extension when I demonstrate the posterior and the anterior version for you, the front and the back of the pose. The scapular has an upward rotation, and it's an abduction and elevation. So the shoulder is like this flexion when you actually lift it up over your ears. The hip and knee is flexion there as well. And the ankle has dorsiflexion as well. This is like quite an energizing standing pose, and it like really challenges your core strength. You can put your hands on your hips if it's tough. If you can't put your hands up high, you can always put it on your hips as well. The chakras activated are the Vishuddha, the Svanasana, and the root chakra as well, the Muladhara. And we're going to demonstrate this one so you can see where I'm coming from. So in the anterior, you bend your knees, you keep your feet slightly apart here, and you lift your hands up by your ears, and you just sit down in this pose in utkatasana. And you inhale through your nose, now through your mouth. So this is really, you can feel the stretch here in your arms and your legs, especially your knees as well. Feel how your hands are outstretched and the stretch in this pose as well. There's a big stretch in this pose. I'm just going to inhale my hands back down, and we're going to do the posterior, so you can see the way my legs, keep our legs slightly, our feet slightly apart, bend your knees, inhale your hands up at an angle, and sit down into the utkatasana pose. Keep your head and your neck at an angle, and keep breathing in and out. You can really feel these pose in your knees and your calves being engaged. And exhale your hands back down into Tadasana. And we're just going to go into virabhadrasana, which is warrior pose. I'll show you how this is done as well. So here we're going to show you the virabhadrasana one. So just put your right foot out and your left foot at an angle, and show you how the joints are used in here. So inhale your hands up and bend your right foot and your left foot at an angle. Feel how your pelvis is used here. You stretch it forward, and your scapula and your back muscles. And breathe into this pose. Feel how the arms are extended up, fingers stretched out. This is the anterior front version. So exhale your hands down, bring your knees back, and we'll just do it from the posterior. So we'll bring our left foot forward and our right foot back. Bend your left foot and inhale your hands up. And put them at an angle, just right at your ears. And keep your head straight and your neck long. And breathe. Exhale your hands down. And come to the front of your mat. And I'll just want to say that's the end of the yoga anatomy workshop for the surya namaskar poses, and I hope that I've informed you on all the joints of this poses as well. Also, if you want to subscribe, please like and subscribe if you, or any suggestions that you may have. I'm always open to them as well. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next week. Thank you.